tomorrow,
No
5
Twitter.
Eastern, the first ever iRacing All-Star race. You can watch this guy's car in that race. But right now, we're heading to our YouTube channel.
Follow us.
Clint,
Follow
us over there. See you tomorrow.
See ya.
Greetings. Welcome to NASCAR America Debrief. Nate Ryan here with Clint Bowyer, Marty Snyder, Kyle Petty. We're here on the Motorsports on NBC YouTube channel, taking your comments and questions there in the little chat box. You're watching us in the little
swipe
YouTube
up or anything cute like
that. You don't need to swipe up.
No, come on.
Just leave questions and comments
Swipe
there.
right.
Also taking leftover phone calls from Motor Mouths, and we're going to start on the phones with Anthony. Anthony, welcome to NASCAR America Debrief.
Yes, and I'm happy to be on the show talking to Clint, who's, by the way, the first NASCAR driver I ever took a picture with back in February of 2012 at Daytona. Now, I will admit,
Awesome.
yeah, I will admit I was a Jeff Gordon fan that year, and we all know what happened with him and Jeff, but I won't talk about it on this show. But anyway,
Got awkward, didn't it? Got really awkward for you.
What's your question, Anthony?
So
You're
which
on with
side
Clint
did you
Bowyer.
pick?
Anthony, show's almost over. You need to ask a question.
We're debriefing.
So Clint, what's the best piece of advice you ever received early in your racing career?
Man, it always has to do with the work ethic. You can't outrun and you can't outcompete a work ethic. First and foremost, learn that from my father. It doesn't matter what your competition is, whether it's I own car dealerships. If I want to beat that guy down the street, if I line up next to somebody on the racetrack, I'm gonna beat that guy. Come hell or high water, somehow, some way, we have got to beat that car next to you. Having that mentality and that work ethic to be able to do above and beyond what you think he's going to do or what he's willing to do means all the difference in the world. Always has and always will.
Cool, man.
Yeah, cool. All right, appreciate the question, Anthony. Let's stay on the phones and go to Christina. Christina, you're on NASCAR America Debrief with Clint Bowyer.
Which is my first debrief on YouTube.
That's right.
Hey, y'all. Hey, Clint.
Sure it is.
Hi, sweetie.
I just had a quick question. If racing wasn't never like invented or anything, what career do you reckon
The world
you
would stop.
taken?
It never started. What profession you think I'd have been in? Probably jail would have been a decent.
That's a profession.
Is that a profession?
Profession.
No, but I just don't
that.
think that way, sweetie. No way. The world was formed for racing.
Yeah, racing was first. Then
The world
came.
revolves around
Yeah.
racing. If racing stopped, hate to say it, we're in big trouble.
God, you got to love a Tennessee accent. Though.
Yeah, love it.
Love that Tennessee
Thank
accent.
you, hon.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Let's take a few questions from YouTube, and they're of the irreverent variety, so I know you'll love those. Clint, who would win in a fight, a silverback gorilla or a grizzly bear? Daniel wants to know the answer.
Daniel,
Wow.
Gorilla versus bear. Clint Boyer's
what do you
answer
think,
is.
bud? I don't know. It's
I tell you who would. The honey badger. Because nobody messes with a honey badger, and don't call him with any more animal.
That was a terrible question. That was a terrible racing debrief question.
Yeah, this is not the. This is. Not
It was
the
a lot
answer.
like something that I would ask, though, so I appreciate it.
James
You asked
wants
that
to know.
after a few beers or like just in general?
Debrief.
conversation?
You got to go through a debrief competition meeting with me.
Oh God. That's
What is that like?
It's
Is it
painful.
stay on
well, you got
task at all?
So you got Eric, right? Eric is very, very down to the point, very business-like, never anything kind of fun or anything. Like, we're going to be down to business. And then Kevin's kind of one or the other. He's either happy or he's so busy. You're like, whoa. The meetings get real short if he's the other and not happy, Harvick. You got Daniel. Oh, my God. What did he say? Is it tight or loose, Daniel? So then you have me, and it's complete chaos.
Wow.
So debriefs are a lot of fun on Tuesdays. We do that Tuesdays at Stewart Haas Racing. Sorry. Did that answer your question?
An hour and a half.
Not even close.
Not close.
Was that even a question? Did they ask that question?
No, we ask our own question.
Your favorite Clint Eastwood movie? Clint.
Oh,
Clint
man.
Eastwood fan.
I'm completely drawing a blank. Watched them.
Good, bad, and the ugly.
Is that a Clint
I
Eastwood
hate
movie?
to say it.
Is it really?
Every
Hill Rider's good.
I don't think there's ever been. That's an awesome one. But everybody automatically you want to go to the westerns, right? You want to go to the westerns, but The Mule. That's his last movie, and that was an awesome movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, the cat has never had a bad movie, whether it's
Gran
the westerns
Torino,
back
The
when
Mule. Good, bad, and the ugly.
before we were even born, or his latest was The Mule. I mean, it's unbelievable the talent that he is.
He is. Back to the phones we go, and we'll talk to Sean. Sean, welcome to NASCAR America Debrief.
Hey, what's up, guys? I was just curious if any of you ever had a sneezing attack while driving a race car.
Sneezing attack. Have you ever sneezed uncontrollably?
It's so funny. I don't think I've ever had an attack of the sneezes anyway. I've sneezed before, but it is a good question. The only thing that I think I could relate something close to that to answer your question, help you out a little bit, I've gotten something in my eye before. I think everybody's done that.
You had an arm itch one time, too, didn't you?
Got an arm itch.
Gosh.
That turned into a hell of a deal.
I had to, man. Don't leave me hanging.
I'm out.
See y'all.
Literally, he's out.
Kyle's gone. Kyle fired himself on that one.
You know what's funny about that? It's still
Sometimes
too
I get
soon.
myself.
It's still too soon. There'll be a chapter in my book wrote about that someday, and you'll be able to learn all about it. But
That's a reason to write a book right there.
oh yeah, it'll be a really good
That would
chapter.
be a good chapter.
It'll be a good one. It'll be in the book.
It should be.
You'll be curious.
You're not going to have a book. You've got to have volumes.
They call that the Paul Harvey.
Yeah, but you have to have like
The rest of the story.
Yeah, the rest of the story.
Yeah.
But you got to
So,
have volumes.
was there a question before he rudely interrupted us? Was something so terribly rude?
Yes, about sneezing.
Sneezing. No, I haven't had a sneeze attack, but I have something in my eye. Have you ever had something in your eye?
Yes.
Do you take your glasses off or you fix it, or what do you do?
Hold on. I tried to drive with contacts one time. You get a contact up behind your eye.
Kevin used to do it.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that, man.
wow.
That was crazy.
Yep.
All right.
I can't do that.
Better to have
No
ladies.
sneezing though, homie.
Serious question coming from Alex, who's on the phone. Alex, welcome to NASCAR America Debrief.
Please save the show.
So what path should I take in order to get into NASCAR?
Great question. Great question, and it's different for everybody. It's different for me. It was obviously certainly different for Kyle Petty.
Yep.
But the truth is, it is different for everybody. NASCAR is a family sport. That's one thing that I have, said all along, and I've learned a lot. It's always been a family sport, whether you started at the top like he did or the bottom at a weekly racing track. For me, it was my parents. Listening to your parents, learn from your parents. We hate to admit it, but parents know best.
Yep.
They've been through the experiences. They've learned, but I learned a lot through my parents. I learned a lot through my father. I learned that I couldn't win without him. His work ethic, enabled me to go racing first and foremost. And that being instilled in me gave me the opportunity to learn how to compete better and work harder than the guy next to you and learn how to beat him.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this too. And whether it's driving, whether it's working on a car, we're doing it right now. My track, my roots. Go to your local short track. Tell somebody you'll help them for free, man. Just hang out with racers.
I can't tell you
That's how you get in the door.
people have come into my shop at my dirt late model shop and asked if they could just help.
Yes.
We've had 2 or 3 of them that started that way. Christopher Tidwell. Probably don't know him. He's a brake and underneath guy. Works at Penske now.
Yeah.
He came with me, literally came to my shop one night. Dad and I were working on our modifieds.
Yeah.
Worked all the way through my career with me alongside. I got the opportunity to come out here. He went to the NASCAR Technical Institute, got his degree over there, started working at RCR, worked there for a lot of years and is now working for Roger Penske of all people.
Yeah.
This is a kid that showed up, literally just came down and started sweeping and learning, and the rest is history.
Yeah, but like Clint says, there's no set way, man. Through the years at our shop, guys came from all walks of life, everywhere, but most of them found a short track guy somewhere where they learned.
There's only one thing that I can say that won't happen. It won't do it for you.
That's true.
That's right.
And that's a fact.
In this day and age, right? Show
that's
up,
a good
do
call,
what you
man.
say you're going to do.
Yeah, good call.
Right?
Yeah.
And just
Thanks
be
for
on
your
time,
question.
yeah.
Thank you, man. That was a good call.
Be persistent. From YouTube, Dylan wants to know if anybody saw it on Twitter today. Bubba Wallace tweeted if he got 43,000 retweets.
How did we not cover this
He
on
would
the
get
show?
the
Why did
King's
we wait till
autograph on his
YouTube
arm.
for this?
I was going to
here's the
say,
tweet.
Did you know this?
No, I did not know
didn't
that.
know
Oh, you didn't know about this?
So the King signed his arm when he was in the car last night.
Yeah.
Clearly, right? 43,000 retweets, he'll get it tattooed.
Well, I'm telling you right now, he screwed up. 43,000 wasn't enough. He should have said
that's not a lot.
443,000.
Exactly.
Because he doesn't have
at
a
the
peer of
34.
his on a track that wouldn't give anything to just have the say so, and knowing that they had a little bit of
yeah.
effort.
Junior retweeted
Look,
it
let's
like
see where he's at. Let's see where he's at.
I believe he's at
Find him.
34,000.
Once again, I think I'm
34,000.
So
that right now.
I've had Richard Petty tattoo my butt a few times. I can tell you that right now.
That's a different tattoo.
That's a different
but-
Dylan wants to know, Clint, would you ever consider getting a racing legend's autograph on one of your arms?
34,000.
Any tattoos that you would ever consider?
Man,
No way.
I think Richard Petty's autograph is the neatest autograph out of any race car driver there's ever been. There's been neat names. You think about Mario Andretti. There's some super cool, really, really cool racing names. It was like their parents knew that he was going to be a race car driver. If he wasn't a race car driver, could you imagine Mario Andretti, the trash truck driver? This wouldn't work. The Subway builder, you know, the Subway sandwich professional, Mario Andretti. No.
That's true.
It has to. He was built and formed and planned to be a race car driver. Parnelli Jones.
Parnelli's good.
You
Gurney.
couldn't be a sandwich artist, Parnelli Jones. It's a race car driver name.
That's true.
Period.
That's good.
Yes.
That's a good way to look at it.
All right, back to the phones. NASCAR America Debrief. We've got Steve. Steve, you're on with Clint Bowyer.
Okay, hey Glenn, how you doing? Hey, I'm 57 years old, close to Kyle's age, I think. I've been watching
Little
NASCAR
younger.
for as long as I can remember. I love the dirt tracks, and Tony's got a great thing going with that Eldora deal, and we love that. But last year they put the PMJ down, and whoever done that must have been smoking something that night, because that didn't work. them trucks could not get crossed up. They might as well have been on asphalt.
Here's the one thing that I can tell you about dirt racing. It's always different. That is not an exact science. That is not an asphalt track that you can always depend on the same weather conditions, drought beforehand, water truck driver, if he maybe was doing what you just said, maybe he ran a lap too long. There are so many different variables that go into a dirt track. You can watch, my track was Lakeside Speedway at home. There was never a night that you didn't have to adjust to something on that track, on your car for that track condition, because it was always different on a dirt track, always will be.
Let's go to Greg in Rhode Island. Greg, you're on the phone. Welcome to NASCAR America Debrief.
Hey, how you doing, Clint? Big fan. I think you're real. And
Thanks, pal.
just wondering that you drive for Stuart Haas and that they have a Formula One team. I was curious if those cars are built in the same shop or if they're built in a different location, and if you'd ever want to get behind the wheel of one of those. Thanks.
Formula One. You want to drive a Formula One car?
Formula One car.
I don't think my leg would fit in one of those things. I have a strict rule about race cars, and I've said this, I've argued this point with my friends Casey Kane, Brad Sweet, Tony Stewart, my boss, F1 drivers. Things with wings on them are supposed to be in the air. Plain and simple.
All right, there's your,
That's the Clint Bowyer rule. That should be a T-shirt. That should be a T-shirt.
If it's got a wing on it, it's supposed to be in the air. Plain and
Rule
simple.
number 41.
Not on a racetrack.
There you go.
So you don't want to do an IndyCar at the Indy 500, then you're saying?
Nah.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. And they're supposed to have a roll cage. Those aren't real roll cages.
No.
If you can,
A tub is not a cage.
if a bird can hit you in the helmet,
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Richard in North Carolina. Richard, welcome to NASCAR America Debrief.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. I love dirt racing, and I want to ask Clint, if all the dirt track drivers were available, which one would he take that's active?
I have them. Don O'Neill, man, you can't ask for a better driver. This guy's 52, 53 years old. They call him the real deal. Comes by it pretty naturally. Just, there's only one of them. It's Don O'Neill, the real deal, Don O'Neill. Josh Richards, been around a long time. Watched this kid grow up racing late models. His dad is Mark Richards. You couldn't ask for a better package if you're racing late models. The sprint car world, Donnie Schatz has been so dominant in the last 10 years. It's kind of, it happened to our sport. Jimmy Johnson, everybody wants to say, this was a reason or wants to point fingers, everything else. The fact that Jimmy Johnson dominated 5 years or whatever it was, that was a problem. And it's a problem that I saw in sprint car racing. I'm not taking anything away from Donnie Schatz. He's the champion, but he was almost exact same style of champion as Jimmy was. Yeah. Very, very buttoned up, down, personable, super awesome guy, but down to business.
Yeah.
All about winning championships, all about racing, and whether he had that personality or not, you didn't see it on television. All you saw is a champion behind a wheel week in and week out. Now all of a sudden, we're watching this King's Royal. Brad Sweet, personalities come out and is beating Donnie Schatz, winning races, leading the points championship. And, man, I'm telling you, they've got the ball rolling with their sprint car stuff. Late models are strong. The big block modifieds, their world up there and all over, they're starting to, it's not just up there anymore. You're seeing big block modifieds down in Florida. You're seeing them all over the place anymore. They're really sprouting out. And that shows you the strength, in the regional and the local racing all across the country.
Zach on YouTube wondering, are you going to race any dirt late models again this year?
And I hope so someday. Obviously, I have 2 of them, and those guys tear up all your stuff every week, so there isn't a car left for me to tear up. But I enjoy being attached to that style of racing. I enjoy being a part of it, whether it's an owner part of it or whatever the case may be. I really do enjoy that level of racing. I love the fan aspect of it. Kyle and I were talking about fans. When I go to a racetrack anymore, all I know is a NASCAR fan. What a lot of people don't realize, most of those NASCAR fans leave that track with these people that are coming to Pocono. When they're done with this Pocono weekend, they're race fans.
Yeah, right.
They're not done.
Yeah.
Their world's not done until the Cup race starts back up at Pocono next year.
Right.
They go back to their weekly racing track. They go back to their, their roots, and we're no different. When I'm done with this, Tony Stewart, look, championship, Hall of Famer. He got done racing, and look where he's doing. He's back racing sprint cars, back where he came from, enjoying himself and living it all over again. So I think that's a human, thing. I think it's always human for somebody to kind of go back where they come from. Sometimes people move away, and a lot of times in life, you look over your shoulder, and the old boy's moving back to town.
Right.
So whether you're a racer or anything in between, I think that's just human nature. That was a hell of a long ways around the tree.
That was a good answer.
That was my answer, baby.
That was a good answer.
Kevin on the phone has a big picture question, I think, for you, Clint. Kevin, welcome to NASCAR America Debrief.
Hi, this is for Clint. If Clint was in charge of NASCAR, what was the first thing he'd be changed?
What? If you were in charge of NASCAR, if you were president of NASCAR.
Oh, my gosh. We don't have enough time.
Right now, I would change the cone rule because
the cone rule
they clearly blew that riding on the old cone rule. All 4 tires underneath.
That cone.
When you're coming in,
cone on the restart.
But if you're coming out, well, heck, just drive all over it.
Yeah, you can do anything.
So that was so confusing. Even the competitors didn't know. But I am an advocate of just put the cone back. Pretty self-explanatory. Then the whole car has to be under it, or it doesn't, one way or another.
You have this whole platform, and that's the one thing you wanted to talk about?
Yeah.
Oh.
Today,
I said that's where I'd start.
Today.
That was the last thing.
That's what we're talking about today.
And I would start there because it was the last
answers.
thing that was in my opinion, whether it's the rule or not, it was a bad call.
Good.
All right.
Booyah!
Right.
Can I
What do we
quit
got
now
now?
before I get fired? Appreciate that call.
We got a call.
Let's take one more phone call. We've got Scott on the line. Scott, welcome to NASCAR America Debrief.
Hey, how you guys doing tonight? I got two quick questions. One, Clint, when you first started out, was there anybody that ever told you that you should kind of look another route and not stay in the racing? And also,
Appreciate that comment.
Is that a rumor? Is that a rumor? Did you tell that to Jonathan Davenport?
We lost him.
Oh, please don't break up. What'd you say?
What'd you say, Scott?
Did you tell that to Jonathan Davenport?
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah,
Austin.
Do you know
when
Jonathan
you were
Davenport?
told, yeah. Did you ever tell Jonathan Davenport you should kind of look for another career?
No, absolutely not. The truth, what I told Jonathan Davenport.
Wow, wait a minute. Who's Jonathan Davenport?
Jonathan Davenport used to drive my cars, and he tore them up a lot. And unfortunately, I was trying to help him. I hired a guy named Steve Francis, was a veteran driver, and I brought him in and said, hey, I think that I'm going to hire Steve to get in this other car, and I think he could help you a lot. And he looked at me and said, I don't think I can learn anything from Steve Francis. I kind of walked out the door, and I thought about it for a minute. I walked right back in and I said, you know what? We're done.
Yeah.
That's the facts.
Yeah, that's good. Yes. I had a PR person one time that had no personality, and I told them they needed to find another profession.
No, I never told you.
That's a true story.
Never in a million years I would never tell anybody that, especially somebody chasing their dreams. But
What's his name again?
Jonathan Davenport.
are
And the
you
funny
his father?
thing is, the
Are you his
ironic
father?
thing about all this, when he got done tearing all my stuff up, he went to work for somebody else who's won everything ever since.
No way.
Oh, it's how luck happened.
And there you have it, ladies.
All right, there you have
Life
it.
of a car owner.
Before we let you go, we had one more hashtag, let me say this tweet that we didn't get to during the show. It was from Wade Farrell, who you made his daughter's day when you walked in Stewart Haas Racing. Here she is.
Cool. That is cool.
You guys, you walked into Stewart Haas Racing apparently a minute after Wade and his daughter did, and he said he was so gracious that you took this picture with her that they bought $100 worth of Clint Bowyer merchandise.
And she burnt.
And burnt that one.
Yeah, she burnt that.
So one of my favorite things to do when you go to the shop, all these shops, it was always that way with Richard.
Yeah.
When I went to RCR, it was always, man, I was like Richard's personal tour director, man. I felt like I knew more of the things that Richard owned than he did. Like, I'm like, oh, no, the good stuff's right here. Come on, check it out. And he'd see a picture, man, I didn't know I had that. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's been here for 6 months. But I enjoy, fans coming every Tuesday when we go to the shop for the competition meeting. You walk in the door and there's fans taking pictures and everything else. Being able to greet those fans is a lot of fun and interaction, man. It's always been that way, whether it's a shop, whether it's a track, or anything in between. The fans are what make our sport go around, and it's certainly enjoying getting to know them.
I think they've enjoyed your interaction with us today.
Thank
you so much for being here. So gracious with your time, taking so many calls and tweets. Thanks again for watching NASCAR America Debrief.